So you know those every blank reviewed in 10 words or less videos made by Joe Apocalypse? Well, I thought, well, if those are so popular, why not make my own with my YouTube poops? And that's how this video was born.
All ratings are whole numbers on a scale of 1 to 10, either negative or positive. A positive number indicates genuine enjoyment, and a negative number indicates ironic enjoyment, because sometimes a bad poop is better than a boring poop. So, without further ado, here is every YouTube poop reviewed in 10 words or less.
Hello, boss run. Hello, boss run. Hello, boss run.
Pretty much has video and audio effects.
My first good YouTube poop. Does it hold up? Its only charm comes from the source material. You think Infinity War is the most ambitious crossover? Ha.
Chris, well, you get nuts. I hallucinated all that, didn't I?
So no one told you shitposts exist.
It's the most innovative shooter I've played in years.
Whatever you do, don't watch this with your family. This is what Hello Boss Run wishes it could be. Football commentators say the craziest things. My dad says the craziest things. I decided to experiment a bit with my liked videos. Hey, when's the collab gonna be out? A documentary of myself making YouTube poops. Did I do justice to the source material? Anyone want a tennis?
Gee, it sure is boring around here.
Who knew Doom would be so fun to poop? My school says the craziest things.
Humans are yellow lemons. Ain't that friggin' weird?
And they're proud of it. Meanwhile, in a parallel universe where the younger video game nerd doesn't swear, Sonic characters say the craziest things. And that's it for now, but you can stay if you want to see the top 3 and bottom 3.
Not again.
So, in my opinion, my Edgeworld YouTube poop, it had way too many stutter loops, and just sped up sections of the original video just to add to the length of the YouTube poop. The reason why it's not number 1 on my worst YouTube poop is because it does have a few good jokes, unlike the other two.
Yeah!
So, my Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs YouTube poop, while it doesn't quite hold up to the movie, I still think it's pretty good. Has some hilarious jokes, especially at the beginning, and it still has some pretty funny jokes throughout, and it makes fun of itself sometimes. So the reason why this is only number 3 on my list of best YouTube poops is because the other two have an actual plot going around in them instead of just crazy shenanigans, like in most YouTube poops. But it was still pretty fun to make, and it shows. Okay, so this may not actually count as a YouTube poop since it's just me messing around with iMovie, but then again, the first YouTube poop ever was just messing around with Windows Movie Maker, so I guess it counts. Plus it calls itself a YouTube poop. All it is just a bunch of video and audio effects, and the occasional dead meme source.
I like Die Hard.
Well, what do you know? My second best YouTube poop just so happens to be my most recent one, Nick the Hedge. The reason why it's my second best is because it takes place in a very well-developed parallel universe where certain crazy things happen, like Sonic is now called Nick, and he's very absent-minded and clumsy. And I actually planned this stuff out before even starting to make the YouTube poop. And it was just as fun to make as Cloudy with a Chance of Sauce jokes. But the only reason why it's number 2 on best YouTube poops rather than number 1 is because the one that is number 1 was even more fun to make.
Sonic dies!
Just like how my second best YouTube poop just happened to be my most recent one, my worst YouTube poop just so happened to be my very first one. And the reason why this is the worst just uses the same joke over and over again. Hello, boss run, hello, boss run, hello, boss run. Like, shut up. Possibly the only redeeming quality of this YouTube poop is the nostalgic value of it being my very first one. And that's it. My best YouTube poop is, drumroll please, superheroes suck. Well, in my opinion at least. The reason why superheroes suck is my favorite YouTube poop is because it was just so fun to make. I mean, sure, the parallel universe may not be quite as well developed as Nick the Hedge, but it was just really fun to make, and it shows. Well, there you have it. That's my opinion. If you want to see the YouTube poops I mentioned, you could just click on my channel and watch them.